Toast makers, shot takers, and y'all know my favorite, puff chasers. This is your great Sir Bradley Ashton back with another installment of I Got Five on it. Make sure that you like, share, and subscribe, and share with anyone who has an XY chromosome. And to the ladies, y'all welcome as well. Um, this one, usually I try to center my posts around topics and issues that affect men, and this gonna be a hard one for me to do, man. I'm not even gonna sit here and cap on this, man, because as being a child of the '90s and being a long time fan of the Power Rangers franchise, try my best to have some form of journalistic integrity. But I can't help but to feel a bit emotional when talking about this story, because this individual, even though I never met him in person or had a personal relationship with him, because this person played so much of a part of my early childhood, it is a personal thing for me to talk about. But um, I feel like it is important to talk about um, this story and what ultimately led to his demise. But if you see the title, um, longtime Power Ranger member Jason David Frank, the original Green Ranger, the original White Ranger, the Red Ranger on Power Rangers Zeo, Red Ranger on on Power Rangers Turbo, and also made a return as Dr. Tommy Oliver Frank in Power Rangers Dino Thunder. Lost his life to self strangulation on the 19th. And I didn't know that at the time of his untimely passing, that him and his estranged wife Tammy were undergoing a divorce. And just from reports that just recently came out today, they checked into a Texas hotel. I'm assuming somewhere in the Austin area, because I know they had a property in that city, but they got two separate rooms. And reports say, according to TMZ, that they got into it and it was a big fussing match and it had to be split up. And said that Frank locked himself from his wife, and because I'm assuming his wife was concerned about his well-being, decided to call law enforcement to see if everything was okay with him. And they said that when they entered inside of his room, they saw that he was lifeless, and unfortunately, he had hung himself. And if I can make it personal right quick, for me, it's hard hearing a story like this, especially a man who, if you watch any of his clips, he was a God-fearing man. He was a Christian, family man. Had kids, and pretty much he was a '90s icon. He was a '90s icon, and it's amazing to know that originally his character was only supposed to be on Mighty Morphin for like 15 episodes, and Fam ended up being the Power Ranger who made the most appearance in franchise history, with like over 200 episode appearances in the franchise through different variations and iterations of the show. Um, Martial art specialist, actor. I don't know if he did music, but it is disappointing when you hear someone like this who's been in the public eye for so long decides to take his own life. And it really makes you wonder, like, man, like What was going through his mind when he said, "You know what? This is gonna be it." Like, you really never know, like, what people are going through unless you really have conversations with them, right? And I'm not gonna lie to you, man, and it hurts me to say this. Um, and I don't mean any harm when I make this next remark. It's a bit disappointing to know that with him being a God fearing man and how Christianity in particular, amongst other religions, look down upon a person taking their own lives. I just wish that he had reached out to others. I don't know, he may have or didn't, but I just wish that he would have made more of an effort to reach out to somebody to talk and to get a lot of the things that were on his chest off, that he wouldn't have felt like this is the only way out. It's a bit disheartening, it's a bit disappointing to see someone that not only myself, but so many people around my age and even younger looked up to and idolized would decide to end his life in this way. And it really just goes to show, man, again, you just never know what's going on in someone's life. And then I think also too, in his mind, he didn't want to go through the legal issues that was potentially coming up the pipeline with his impending divorce. Um, just the whole timeline of how that even went down. His wife having papers served to him at a comic book convention. I'm pretty sure that was embarrassing. Um, her claiming that he was cheating on her and was mistreating her, which we'll never know if that's really true because the other participant is no longer here with us. And then was also looking to, of course, from an independent divorce, get some of his net worth and also take over the property. And I think from an article or two that I came across, some of the vehicles that they may have bought together during their marriage. So he was about to go through it, right? And this was his second, okay? This was his second marriage. His first marriage lasted for around 6, 7 years. And then this relationship was his longest one. It was just shy of 20 years. It was just shy of 20 years. Um, and it's one of those situations where you just say, man, you never know what's really going on. And when you talk about relationships and when you talk about divorce, a lot of men, and y'all may want to do your own independent research. Don't necessarily take my word for it. Do your own research. Do your own Google. A lot of men who go through divorce ultimately decide to go through self-deletion, to not go through the rest of the process. And when I hear stories like this, especially about famous figures, that's why it made me so upset to hear famous figures like a Tia Mowry talk about she don't look at her divorce as a failure, but she look at it as a graduation. That's not a graduation. Divorce is not a graduation. Coach Greg Adams, CGA, he talk about this a lot on his podcast when he says divorce and long-term breakups is a death. It is a death of a portion of your life that you were so accustomed to. Now you have to make a new. And some people, unfortunately, do not know how to overcome that particular death in their lives and to be able to move on and to be able to make a new and to forge a new path. I don't know what was going on in his mind. I just, from the outside looking in, I don't think he was mentally ready to want to go on and move on to a new relationship. I don't think he could have bared the fact of he was, in the regards of marriage, being a two-time loser in a sense, right? I just wish that JDF would have talked to a professional, talked to someone that specialized in divorce recoveries, whether it be the financial portion of it, the mental portion of it, the emotional, the spiritual, the physical, all those things, man. Because he leave behind 4 kids that will never get to embrace his hug, will never get to hear new messages from him. They'll just have to rely on old recordings from his television shows, home videos they may have recorded over the years, and more importantly, just the legacy that he still was building on. Is gut wrenching and it's heartbreaking to hear news like this. And like a pastor would say at a funeral, death isn't for those that have passed on or have made that transition, but it's for those who are amongst the present and to learn from this individual story. And I hope that in the coming days, as many fans like myself and others still try to process the death of a childhood hero, a childhood legend, that we take this situation and we try not to do what he did or feel like that was the only option for him to exercise, to reach out to somebody, to not be afraid to ask for help, to not be afraid of being vulnerable, to not be afraid of saying, hey, man, I don't know what to do. Help me out. There are hotlines for this. If you ever feel like you're at the end of your rope, tie a knot and just hold on, man. Life is way too precious for anyone out there that may be going through something to tragically end their lives on a temporary situation. Please, if this matches your situation as currently constructed, please exit this video and call a hotline, man, that specializes in this. Please, please do. Mm. Rest in peace to Jason David Frank. Your memory will live on. And that's been my 5 cents. But if you have anything else to add to the conversation, please add it to the comment section. But as always, eyes front, head out to the finish, see it through.